About 20 years ago, there was a Patriots team that was so dominant that I truly believe they were the best team of this century. That no Patriots team before or since was as good as this team. Not even the '07 Patriots that were a defense stop away from a perfect 19-0 season. This video will be about a team that many consider to be historically dominant, but one that I still believe is a little underrated. If you haven't watched my video on the 2003 Patriots, here you go. I thought that team was very good, but not quite as good as their 14-2 regular season and 17-2 overall record would have one believe. That team won several close games off of sheer dark magic. In all-time discussions, it's just hard to rank a team that's margin of victory was that small, even a 14-2 team, as one of the absolute greatest teams ever assembled. But it's different with the 2004 Patriots. The 2004 Patriots had a far more convincing regular season and a more convincing postseason. There was just little doubt who the best team was in 2004 by the end of it. Not even the 15-1 Steelers or Manning's high-powered Colts offense could convince us that the 2004 Patriots had a challenger. This is the story of the 2004 Patriots, perhaps the greatest team assembled this century. But first, leave a like and sub as it'll help the algorithm out. Also, check out my social media accounts. Anyway, let's go to shortly after the 2003 season ended. As we know, the Patriots won it all that season with a thriller against the Panthers. Brady was in his third full season as an NFL quarterback and won his second of 7 Super Bowls. He was brilliant in the finale, which was enough to acquire his second of 5 Super Bowl MVPs. The Patriots started the offseason off by acquiring star running back Corey Dillon from the Cincinnati Bengals just a few days before the draft. In the 2004 draft, the Patriots selected defense tackle Vince Wilfork and tight end Ben Watson in the first round. Both became key contributors down the road, but Wilfork, you could argue, was a high-impact player even in 2004 as he played all 16 games and started 6 of them. When comparing the starters for 2003 and 2004, there were about 13 constants, but as far as the core group, the 2004 team was pretty much the same as the 2003 team. Replaced Ted Washington with Corey Dillon, and the rest of the core group was intact. Bruschi, Law, Seymour, and Vrabel headlined a formidable defense. Matt Light, Joe Andruzzi, and Dan Coppin were constants on one of the best offensive lines in the league, and Brady was, well, Brady. The Darkle himself was still on the sidelines, and the Patriots looked like they were still the team to beat. The regular season started off with a close win against the rival Colts on opening night. It's worth noting that due to the controversial ending to their conference championship game the previous season, as well as the controversial ending to the NFC championship game, that rule changes were implemented to boost offenses. That refs were advised to pay attention to those 1978 rule changes, which contributed to offenses boosting in the 2004 season. The Colts responded with a record-breaking offense. The Patriots responded the first time by limiting them to 24 points, the most notable sequence being Mike Vanderjagt confidently calling for the game-tying field goal only to miss it. Game over. Week 2 was against the Cardinals. Corey Dillon was brilliant, rushing for 158 yards and a 23-12 win. But the story for this game was Deion Branch suffering a knee injury that forced him out of the lineup for 9 weeks. The receiving core for the Patriots was better in 2004 than it was in 2001 and 2003, but as Brady fans love to point out, it wasn't the strongest receiving core in the league, so Brady was without one of his main targets early on. After the bye week, the following game was against the Buffalo Bills. The game was tied 17-all entering the fourth, but the Patriots scored 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns to win 31-17. Week 5 was against the winless Miami Dolphins, and unsurprisingly, the Patriots won 24-10, which gave the Patriots their 19th consecutive win. The last time the Patriots lost a regular or postseason game up to that point was in Week 4 of 2003 against the Washington Redskins, and at the time, it was a new record. The Patriots continued their winning ways against the Seahawks and the Jets, who were also undefeated when they both met. But that winning streak was going to end the following week against the 5-1 Steelers, led by rookie Big Ben. The Patriots were without Corey Dillon, and his absence was definitely missed. The Patriots scored a field goal on their opening drive, but Pittsburgh responded with 3 quick touchdowns to start the second quarter up 21-3. Ty Law suffered a season-ending foot injury on this play. Mind you, Tyron Poole also suffered a season-ending injury versus the Seahawks, so both the starting cornerbacks heading into the season were gone. The Steelers were in control the rest of the way, and the Patriots suffered their first loss in over a year. The next game was against the Rams, the first Rams-Patriots matchup since the Super Bowl a few years back. Corey Dillon was back, and his impact was immediate with his 15-yard run. But later in the game, cornerback Asante Samuel suffered a major injury. The Patriots were so depleted in the secondary that Troy Brown, who normally played as a wide receiver, played on both sides like he was a 1960s player. But it wasn't just Troy Brown doing that. Mike Vrabel had a receiving touchdown, and Adam Vinatieri had a passing touchdown off a fake field goal attempt. The Patriots won 40-22 and entered the halfway point of the season 7-1, well on pace to match their 14-2 record from 2003. The second half of the regular season was as dominant as the first half. The Patriots destroyed the Bills 29-6, beat the Chiefs in Deion Branch's first game back, dominated the Ravens 24-3 in a game where the elements were in full force. Worth mentioning that the Ravens offense had just one more yard of total offense than Corey Dillon had rushing yards. Week 13 against the Browns was another display of dominance as the Patriots won 42-15. The Patriots were rolling, especially on offense, and that would continue against the Bengals as the Pats took a commanding 35-14 lead early in the second half. A few garbage time touchdowns made the game look closer than it really was. The next game, however, is a notable one. Week 15, Monday Night Football, and against a 2-11 Dolphins team at their place. A common theme with the Patriots is struggling to beat Miami at their place, and 2004 was no exception, as the Patriots were upset 28-29. The Patriots took a commanding 28-17 lead with about 3:59 left to play, but terrible time management allowed the Dolphins to score 12 points to take a 1-point lead. The Patriots had a chance to win it with a field goal on their last drive, but Brady threw a game-losing interception to cap off a very underwhelming performance where he threw 3 touchdowns, but also 4 interceptions. To have this loss occur on Monday night, and when the Dolphins wearing their distinct orange uniform, has made this perhaps the most memorable game the 2004 Patriots played in. But this was to be their last loss the rest of the way, as the Patriots won convincingly against the Jets and 49ers to cap off another 14-2 regular season. For the season, Dillon had a bounce-back year after a disappointing 2003. He had 1,635 rushing yards, which was 3rd in the NFL, and 12 rushing touchdowns, which was 8th. His 1,738 all-purpose yards were 7th in the league. That is despite missing a game and starting in just 14. Brady also had a very good season, finishing 10th in yards, 6th in touchdowns, 9th in passer rating, and 8th in adjusted net yards. Good numbers, and when you adjust for his receiving core, he was probably a top 5 quarterback that year. But he had not quite entered the level of play we were familiar with from 2007 onwards. He was still more of a game manager at this stage of his career. Ultimately, the 2004 Patriots dominated because of their defense, ranking 4th in points per drive allowed, and 3rd in turnovers forced. The special teams was headlined by Vinatieri, arguably the greatest kicker the sport has ever seen. And the mastermind behind this team's 14-2 run was Bill Belichick. The 2004 Patriots averaged 27.3 points per game, surrendered 16.3 points per game, and 11-point margin of victory, and did it against a strong schedule. They were statistically a historically dominant team, but they needed to win it all to get in those conversations. They started the postseason off against the Colts, and while the Colts had seemingly unstoppable offense throughout the regular season, the Patriots neutralized them in ways no team did that year, as the Colts scored just 3 points in the freezing and windy Foxborough Field. Belichick once again demonstrating that no one's better at shutting down historically dominant offenses than him. The next playoff game was against the 15-1 Steelers, one of 2 teams that beat the Patriots that year, and the Patriots had their revenge, scoring 10 quick points 10 minutes in and taking a commanding 24-3 lead entering the half. The Patriots scored one more touchdown before the Steelers tried to make it look much closer than it truly was. But it wasn't enough as the Patriots won 41-27. Brady played great in this conference championship game, and with that victory, the Patriots were one win away from a back-to-back championship and the establishment of a dynasty. The Super Bowl was next, and it was going to be in Jacksonville against Andy Reid's Eagles. The Eagles went 13-3 in the regular season in what was a pretty weak NFC and made to their 4th consecutive NFC championship game, beating an overachieving Falcons squad. The Eagles were a balanced squad with a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense in terms of points per drive. They were led by Donovan McNabb, who had a great year, but the best player on that team was without question the newly acquired Terrell Owens. The Eagles had some big names and represented a big city, but the reality is that the NFC was just not that good during this time, so they were simply a sacrificial lamb for whoever came out of the AFC. That being said, the Eagles kept it competitive. The score was 7-all at the half, and the Eagles were always within a touchdown, but ultimately, the Patriots prevailed 24-21 to secure the first dynasty of the Brady and Belichick era. Speaking of which, Brady was great, throwing for 236 yards and 2 touchdowns to 0 interceptions, but Deion Branch ultimately won Super Bowl MVP with 133 receiving yards. Terrell Owens was amazing in this game, giving his all despite playing with a broken leg, 122 receiving yards on 9 catches. But Donovan McNabb was underwhelming with 3 interceptions and 4 sacks, negating his 3 touchdowns and 357 passing yards. The Patriots were just too good on both ends, and the end result was hoisting the Lombardi for the 3rd time in 4 seasons. For the season, the Patriots had 6 Pro Bowlers and 4 All-Pros. By any metric out there, the 10-4 Patriots are one of the most dominant teams in NFL history. That is despite dealing with injuries in the secondary that had them use Troy Brown as a literal two-way player. When NFL fans discuss the greatest Patriots team ever, 2007 is a common pick, and rightfully so. But ultimately, it's hard to call a team the greatest in team history if they did not win it all, especially when there's 6 that did, and 2004 Patriots statistically were not far off from 2007. 2004 was more balanced on both ends, and their game-to-game dominance in both the regular season and postseason was hella more consistent than the 2007 Patriots, who after a very hot start regressed the rest of the way. It's those reasons why I lean towards 2004 being the best Patriots team, and among the best football teams to ever exist. It's a contrast from the 2003 team, another Patriots Super Bowl team that went 14-2 in the regular season and 17-2 overall. If you watched that video of mine, you probably noticed that I did not think all that highly of that team in the grand scheme, and I still stand by it about 1 year later. But the 2004 Patriots were different. They were dominant from start to finish and left little doubt that they were the best team in the NFL. But what about you guys? Were the 2004 Patriots the best Patriots team ever among NFL teams in the salary cap era? Let me know in the comments down below. Cyber out.